I've toured a lot with guitar players. They always have that. What can that do for me?
So,
as a keyboard player, let me tell you how I pick the pedals that I use. So number one,
so this is the delay list. We have analog delays in mono and stereo, circular delay, digital mono and stereo, dual delay, dual reverse.
I don't think I've ever gotten sold on a piece of gear mid-video before. Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I think you're going to have to really sell me on this one because now I will say I don't know a whole lot about that, but this is a guitar thing.
Yeah.
That's what I know. I've toured a lot with guitar players. They always have that. What can that do for me?
So, Quad Cortex, aside from being used by guitarists and bassists like myself, there is a market for it for keyboard players in terms of, they did do a couple things in here. As a matter of fact, when I went to go name this preset, when you can categorize presets, synth is a category that you can save a preset under. But aside from that, is the thing about the Quad Cortex that makes it so good is its routing capabilities. If you wanted to, you could put 4 instruments through this thing and have them be on their own. There's 4 lines of DSP processing, so you could have 4 lines of different kinds of effects and stuff. Vocal, guitar, bass, keys, all on 4 separate lines, and you could
multiple inputs in,
multiple inputs out.
Oh, okay.
2 center return loops, so you got 2 ins that are 1/4 inch or XLR. You have 2 effects center return loops, so you could insert specific effects pedals you wanted to, or anything post-processing, 4 cable method, that kind of thing. And then you have 2 1/4 inch outs that are, I believe the 1/4 inch can be TRS capable. And then you have the 2 XLR outs, and it's just it's a matter of how you set it up. You can do a lot of routing stuff.
Okay. As a keyboard player, let me tell you how I pick the pedals that I use and what I look for in pedals.
Yep.
And you can kind of tell me about what this does and doesn't have in regards to that. So number one, it's hard when you have a multi-keyboard rig to choose pedals because you have to choose which keyboard it goes to, and then it's hard to incorporate a whole pedal board into the rig. So in an effects pedal, I'm always looking for something that can do a lot, a broad range of things. For example, like the Eventide H9 and H90. Those are I like those. Can this like do a bunch of stuff? Reverbs, delays,
reverb, delay, distortion. It can even do amp modeling if you wanted to put your keyboards through guitar or bass amps. It won't have crazy complex algorithms like, say, the H9 has some pretty stellar pitch and reverb and delay algorithms, but this has quite a few tools in the toolkit, so to speak.
So that's number one, something that can do a broad range of things. Number two, I do a whole thing, and if you follow this channel, you've heard me talk about this probably too many times, but I do a whole thing where I incorporate MIDI into my entire rig to make it so that I never have to really stay on top of my patches. I hit one button, and every device in my rig switches to the right setting automatically.
Yeah.
Can this send and receive program change messages?
It sure can.
And can it be tempo synced?
It sure can.
Tell me about that.
So yeah, basic MIDI in and out. It's got USB as well, and then per preset you can have it. It has tap tempo built into it, and you could have it so it's per preset or per scene, or it could be a master tempo. So if you say you were running 2 different synths through this and having them go through 2 different effects change, you could have both of their tempo, the timed wet effects mapped to the same tempo. And I'm pretty sure through MIDI you can dial it in even further and have it synced up to your rig and all that. I'm pretty sure there's a way to do that.
Gotcha. And I started to touch on this in the first thing that I was saying, but I think you just sort of touched on it for me, which is that another one of the problems with using pedals as a keyboard player is that if you have a multi-keyboard rig, you have to choose which keyboard to put a pedal to. I have multiple Hall of Fame reverbs,
right,
and I have multiple Boss DD500 delay pedals, just so that I can have the same effect on multiple keyboards. Yeah. This has multiple inputs and multiple outputs.
Yes. So realistically, the best way to do it is you could run two keyboards, because there's 2 main inputs. You can run 2 keyboards into this thing and make 2 different sets of effects chains for them.
All right. Issue number 4 that I'm facing as a keyboard player is that it's it's okay that everything sounds digital and perfect and hi-fi and whatever, but I really like some grit on my sounds. And I've been searching for some kind of way to add saturation and distortion, but not like a super digital kind of thing. I mean, this is a super digital kind of thing.
Yeah.
But how is this with all that?
Drives and fuzzes and stuff sound pretty good on this pedal. And the other cool benefit is, you can, aside from the built-in effects models, you can also rely on like dirty amp models. Because the thing about the Quad Cortex is, and this was a big selling feature when this came out, it captures real amps and now this also does real pedals as well. So basically, the way it works is you put an amp through this by miking it, and then it goes through a whole process where it just shoots signal through the amp and then into a microphone back into this, and it creates a special profile, or in a more technical sense, it does like a specific EQ curve that is like replicating the sound coming out of that mic, coming out of that speaker, where the mic is positioned on that speaker, and like the way the amp is set at that time.
Does that like work? I mean, that sounds very advanced and cool. Does it like work legit for real? Does it sound great?
In a room, nothing's gonna ever replace the feel of going through a real vacuum tube amp. But honestly, if you put this side by side to a regular layperson, and it's like, and even on a stage, nobody's really gonna know.
Okay.
And it's like it's
the next best thing.
It's the next best thing. This is probably aside from maybe the Axe FX line of stuff, and this is like top tier, like amp capture technology. And they even do guitar pedals too. So say you had like a Klon Centaur that you had a specific setting on it that you liked, or a Big Muff or something like that, you could just put a cable from this into the pedal, another cable back into it, hit the profile, and it will make a digital snapshot of that setting of that pedal. When it does the capture process, it doesn't just put like one curve of audio at one level. It'll like go through a bunch of things and kind of test the dynamics of it and see how it responses, and then that's how it makes a pretty convincing capture of it.
Well, let's see how it sounds.
All right. What do you want to start with?
Let's see. Reverbs, distortion, reverbs, delays, kind of basic stuff.
Yeah, we could do that. Let's do tape delay stereo.
Mm-hmm.
Let's add a reverb block to that. We'll do shimmer reverb because that's my favorite type of reverb. So hold the chords, and it'll do the added pitches on top.
Nice. So is this the kind of thing where like it comes with delays and reverbs, but like do people like make their own, and then can you like download them? Or something?
Yeah, this has a pretty extensive user interface, and what they call Cortex Cloud or Neural Cloud. I forget what the actual name of it is, but it's an app where people can share preset chains, and you can download their presets and load them onto your unit.
Okay.
And aside from that, you can make backups of all your presets in the cloud. So you could, if you had all your banks and stuff, you can save to a backup. So heaven forbid something goes wrong.
That explains. Okay, so as a keyboard player, I very often backline things that are available universally from backline, and so I enjoy getting to the gig with my USB stick and putting it in a Yamaha montage that isn't mine and loading up a whole backup of my user library. This is already easy to take around, but it's kind of the same thing.
Yeah,
you can
and now, if you have a Cortex Cloud account, and it's like you sync this onto a Wi-Fi, or as of recently, they also have a computer editor as well, so you could also back up to the editor, I believe, as well. But you can make backups to the cloud for this, and then you can recall them at any time.
Nice. Does it come with a variety of delays and reverbs.
So yes, if I go back to here, we can go into the list. So we can change device. So this is the delay list. We have analog delays in mono and stereo, circular delay, digital mono and stereo, dual delay, dual reverse.
Can I hear dual reverse?
We can do dual reverse. Go for it.
Does it have like just any like nuts delays that would surprise me?
Let's see. We got dual reverse, simple ping pong, slapback, tape delay. Let's try circular delay. I don't think I've messed around with that one. Oh, this is, you know what this is? I think this might be based on an echo rec.
What other reverbs other than the shimmer kind of
All
thing?
right, let's see. We can go back to the reverb block, and we can do... All right, so it starts with ambience, cave, hall, mind hall, modulated, plate lush, plate tight, room, shimmer, and then spring and mono or stereo.
Show me something crazy. I'm sure I can do the normal stuff just fine.
Let's do plate lush.
Certainly lush.
Yeah, and then let's try...
We're in a cave. So what is this?
This is just one of the factory presets called Cinematic Shimmers.
And it's like a bunch of stuff on top of each other. Right?
Yeah, so, and I'm trying to see here, actually, you have input, we have gates on both inputs, so if you're not playing anything, it'll quiet the input, so there's no noise. But on one line, you have what appears to be a Friedman 100 clean setting for an amp through pretty much a 412, Marshall 412 style, two different types of reverbs. We have an envelope filter. We have another chain down here, which is compression, polyoctavers, and then we have simple delay. We have MX5. We have an MXR vibrato, two MXR vibratos, and then we have a tape delay, and we have a cave reverb. So I guess this is like for basic room type. So this is on medium. This is large, small. So yeah, that's like basic, if you want to just add a bit of space to a sound. Not so much a crazy reverb. Mind hall, let's see about that. We can try modulated.
I like that a lot.
Yeah. So I have the mod depth turned up to like 78% with the speed about halfway. And the cool thing was with all the reverbs, you can have it so that the trails are on or off. So if you turn the reverb off, it doesn't immediately cut off the reverb. You can have it continue on after you bypass it.
Nice.
And then we can do just a basic spring. We can see how that sounds. Yeah, hit it with some dynamics. Hear a little bit of the spring boing going on in the background there.
Nice.
So that's that. We can do some other wet effects too.
Okay.
Let's,
What kind of like modulation stuff?
Yeah, we can do. We have a bunch of modulation stuff based on different kinds of pedals. The first one is the venerable Boss CE2 chorus. So if you want to play a little bit of that. And this is the CE2 Waza that also has the CE1 chorus and vibrato modes in it as well.
Ah. I'm cheating a little bit because that's actually a phaser in that song.
Yeah.
I know. I like it though.
So that's based on, like, this is the setting of the Boss CE1 chorus, which is a very popular effect from back in the 70s. But let's see what else we have to mess around with.
Ooh.
We can change the waveform as well, so you're on sine now.
What are the waveforms?
Sine, triangle, square. Saw up, and then saw down.
This is kind of making me want to like handle all my effects externally through one thing rather than always be diving into the delays and reverbs that are on my keyboards.
Yeah.
Which depending on the keyboard, it's like it's easy if it's some keyboards, but if it's like a montage,
and then you got
like
and then you got some MX stuff, which is basically MXR, and then here's a flanger. And then after that is the venerable Phase 90. And then here's the rotary. And then I believe either with a foot switch setting or an external foot switch, you can select the speed between fast and slow on this. So that is a nice, cool feature to have. So that's chorus, that's modulation.
Yeah. What other categories?
All right, we have, starting from the top, we have plugins, which corresponds to the guitar plugins that Neural DSP does. We have amp models, neural captures, which are captures of either amplifiers or pedals, cabs, which is cab simulation, speaker impulse responses of certain speaker models.
I do like the idea of amp modeling. I've been playing a lot of Clav recently.
See, that would be perfect for that. You could put it through a deluxe reverb or a twin reverb model.
I'm kind of not a big fan of most Clav sounds that are in keyboards, and I'm starting to think that it doesn't actually have much to do with the sound itself, but like organ, like, you know how it's like no digital organs really, really, really do it?
Yeah.
And there's nothing like having a Leslie speaker that throws the sound around the room in a certain
whips
way.
the air and all that.
Yeah. I'm starting to think that with a Clav, there's nothing like just having that really come through a real amp in the room. And of course, this is not that, but you're saying it can kind of get a little closer?
It can get you part the way there.
Okay. Can we try to get me a good clav sound real quick?
Yeah, sure.
Let's just like
Pull up a clav.
let's solve this problem once and for all. Okay, so this is a clav from the Arturia V collection, which I think is among the best kind of clavs out there. But even that, you can tell it's not an amp in the room. It's not the clav thing.
Yeah. CA start clean. Let's do D-cell. There's a lot of amp models on here to choose from. Yeah, let's do, we'll do this.
Sounds like it's going to come in hot.
I'll lower the volumes for you. So that's just the amp model, so I got to put it through a cab. So let's do... slap back to the end of that.
Woo! What was that?
That's a tube screamer. But yeah, let's bypass all this and go back to just dry sound.
Dry sound.
So that already brings the level down by quite a bit. There's compression. Overdrive. Yeah. So that's the amp. Let me lower the volume on that a bit. And then we'll add the speaker simulation back in. And then lastly, the... Try now. Envelope filter. Yeah.
Yeah.
On.
Yeah.
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 Yep.
Sick.
Pretty good, right?
Yeah.
And that's just me just messing around.
Yeah.
We aren't even fine-tuning it at
Okay,
all.
that's at least one among the best digital clav options I've heard.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
The amp models for electromechanical instruments do make a difference.
I want to hear this back on the Rhodes. It just
I don't even have the phaser on. I didn't even have the phaser on either.
All right.
Oh, here we go. Watch this. This will freak you out. So play. I can transpose.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So that's a pretty cool feature for guitars and bass, especially if we want to do drop tunings without having to change our strings. It's not 100% authentic for stringed instruments, but it helps.
If it's got all that distortion on there, it hardly matters.
Yeah, it hardly matters. Oh yeah, there's also a freeze. Hold a chord for me. So it's like the Electro Harmonix freeze pedal. And then on this, you can actually set the foot switch for that effect to be momentary or latching.
I'm just obsessed with these distortion, with these drive and distortion options.
Yeah.
That is nice.
That's just scratching the surface.
Yeah. So I came into this genuinely not knowing much about this pedal at all, and just having the impression that it's like a guitar thing, which I guess it is mostly, right? Like how many other instruments are using this thing, or I should say, how common is it that like people are touring with this who aren't guitar players?
I mean, it's hard to say because I've never really done research as far as who in the keyboard world is using this. But when they did all the updates and all the advertisements and stuff like that, it's a multi-instrumental kind of tool because they also offer you mic inputs, which is of course used for the capturing of amplifier when you mic up an amplifier and you want to do the captures on that. But you can also run vocal mics through this. You could pretty much sing through this if you wanted to. It has that capability. So it's like they've basically the way I look at the Quad Cortex is it's a very good user tool set for multiple applications. And I think, and that's why I figured I'd bring it by today, because it's like, I can't think off the top of my head, or I've never actively searched for it on YouTube. It's like good use cases and demos of keyboards going through a Quad Cortex. So I think that was kind of like why I was like, I should bring this for Sam and have him check this out and see what he thinks.
How much is this?
This unit, I believe, right now retails at Sweetwater for around $1,700.
Okay.
And that's generally the norm. For
a lot for
like
a pedal,
this.
but a pedal that can do all that.
Yeah, and they're they are updating the OS every now and again to add new user features and quality of life fixes and stuff like that. So, it's a built-in tuner. You got 3 different types of modes between stomp mode, which turns on and off individual effects, preset mode, which you can make different presets that have different effects go on and off at the same time, and then there's a scene mode which incorporates individual scenes per preset, this is how I used it when I was using it for bass guitars. So say I was doing it so that every preset was a song, and with each song I had multiple scenes because I was changing multiple effects on and off during a song. So let's say one scene had a drive pedal on, another scene turns it off and adds delay and reverb, another preset adds chorus and brings the drive in but brings the reverb and stuff back out. So it's like, it's one of those things where it's like using it live in that context, it gives you a lot of freedom, so you're not doing, which I don't know if you've had to do that as a keyboard player, do the tap dance.
Not a whole lot. I see the tap dance happening a lot.
Yeah,
I know about it. I'm tap dance adjacent.
And for some people, they can do it well, but it's like the convenience of it is worth its weight in gold. Yeah.
Yeah, man. 1,600-1,700?
Yeah.
I might be seriously considering this.
And like I said, it's
like
one
seriously.
Of the,
I don't think I've ever gotten sold out a piece of gear mid video before.
Your friend Zach would definitely be able to help you out as far as learning the ins and outs.
I know one of his things can be like, it's got all the functionality, but like it doesn't really match the amp in the room feel. And you kind of said that, but I don't know if that's a problem for me because I'm not used to the amp in the room feel anyway.
Yeah, you're going to be mostly in ears, and that's mainly the reason I use this, as far as like I was never crazy about the amp modeling and stuff like that as far as it being a selling point for me, because I always use a real bass amp in the room. But at the time when I had this in my old band, I was using in-ear monitors, and to make things easier for myself, I did incorporate the bass amp models and the amp models and the cab simulation and all that. And in the ears, it sounded great. And it's like I had no problem with it, and I like that being my, coming from front of house, I like that being the sound. And that way the front of house guy was happy because, I didn't have to blast my amp on stage. But I had it loud enough where I could feel the air behind me a little bit, so to speak. But but it was a better balancing act for the sound people and me to be happy with what I was hearing on stage.
This might be my solution to a bunch of things.
Yeah.
And honestly, the multiple inputs and multiple outputs thing puts it over the edge. Like I had considered other solutions. There's a electron analog heat that I was looking at.
Yep.
Just mostly for it's a multi-effects thing too, but mostly for like some saturation stuff. Like I said earlier, the Eventide H90, another multi-effects thing, but none of those really meaningfully solve the problem of the fact that when you buy a pedal, you have to pick which keyboard in your rig to put it to.
And then if you play real quick, play something real quick. I want to say, so yeah, basically what I was doing out here. It has a global EQ that goes out on the output, so you can like dial in your EQ curves on this if you wanted to. So we could do that. If you pull down from the top, you get all your ins and outs, and you can go to your MIDI. You can have it set. You can have MIDI out set to through. Your XLRs, you can have linked stereo if you wanted to, which I believe, you do that. You could hit that, and it links your stereo outs to to be stereo. So, but if you wanted individual routing, you just hold it again, and then it unlinks them. You have individual ground lifts, so if there's a buzz somewhere going on, you have your headphone out. You have your 1/4 inch, which is what we're using. We could also link that in stereo as well and make that a stereo pair. We could also have them be independent. You can mute on and off. I believe there's a way you can dial in there's a set limiter you can put on that as well. And then you have your inputs. We can do phantom power if we're doing mic, ground lift. You have your input level gain, which is like instrument or mic. And if it is instrument, you can actually set different impedance curves.
How easy is it to switch between just your different input instruments? Like if I've got the Polybrute and the Astrolab plugged into it, can I be like, channel 1, tweak, channel 2, tweak?
Oh yeah. It's just as easy as touching the screen and, in the representation here to set your input levels for the instruments and stuff like that. It's just you go to this menu and you just tap on the input or the output and you can set individual input levels, output levels. You have meters here so you can see what's clipping if something is clipping, and then you could dial it back to make sure you're getting a clean input gain stage and all that.
Yo, I think I need this thing. I
think you should look into it a little further. Unless, you'll be surprised. I think you can make this do some pretty cool stuff.
Yeah. Cool. Well, thanks for showing me this.
Not a problem.